Hello and welcome. This is Intimacy After, a podcast for mature women facing intimacy issues from various causes. Please know you are not alone. It is time to stop suffering in silence. On this podcast, we give hope that through practice of simple steps and proven tips, you can improve intimacy and resurrect your love life. Break free, learn to laugh again, to play again, to be happy, to love, and know that you are loved. I am your host, Queen. Come on inside. Hello and welcome inside. Happy holidays to you, Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year's, listeners. Thank you for tuning in. As you know, here we dive into all things love, connection, and intimacy. And today's no different. We're going to be focusing on something so many of you may be experiencing right now. The challenges of intimacy during the holiday season. Yeah, sister friends, the holidays are often painted as a time full of joy, love, and connection. But let's be real. How many of you have felt overwhelmed this time of year, like intimacy is quietly slipping to the bottom of your priority list, right? During the holidays, there's so much going on. There's the financial pressure of buying gifts, the emotional labor of planning family gatherings, and let's not forget the literal labor of cleaning and decorating the home. All these can accumulate, leaving you feeling too drained for romantic endeavors or deep conversations. Let's take Michaela and Tom, for example, a couple from Chicago. They found themselves so caught up in holiday preparations and attending back-to-back parties that they hardly had any quiet moments together. The intimacy they once shared seemed like a distant memory by New Year's Eve. The story is not unique. It resonates with many. So whether you're juggling a mile-long to-do list, dealing with complicated family dynamics, or feeling the inevitable pressure to make everything perfect, I see you, sister friend. You know I'm talking to you. The holidays can stretch your emotional and mental bandwidth. And let's face it, when life gets overwhelming, deep connection with your partner or yourself can feel like the first thing to go. But here's the thing. Intimacy doesn't need to take a back seat. In today's episode, we're digging into the barriers to connection during this hectic season, sharing relatable real-world examples, and of course, offering a few actionable tips to help you rekindle intimacy, not just with your partner, but also with yourself during the holiday season and beyond. But here's the thing. Intimacy doesn't need to take a back seat, you know. In today's episode, we're digging into barriers to connection during this hectic season, sharing relatable real-world examples, and, of course, offering actionable tips to help you rekindle intimacy, not just with your partner, but also with yourself during the holidays and beyond. So grab a warm drink, settle in, and let's get real about staying connected during what can feel like the most chaotic time of the year. So, why exactly is intimacy such a struggle this time of year? For starters, let's talk about the sheer volume of everything that's happening in your life right now. There are gifts to buy, meals to plan, relatives or friends to entertain, holiday cards to write, school events to attend, and maybe a work deadline or two that decided to crash the party. That's a lot, sister friends. That's just a lot going on. So it's easy to see how all of this can leave you feeling like you barely have time for yourself, let alone your hobby. I want you to ask yourself one honest question. When's the last time you and your partner sat down to have a meaningful conversation without checking your phones, worrying about wrapping paper running out, or mentally calculating how many mashed potatoes you need to make? For example, Emily, a listener of the podcast, reached out and told me about her situation from last year, which she hopes she don't have to repeat again this year. She shared that every December, her and her hubby, a couple who normally can't go a day without talking about work, life, friends, get stuck in this cycle where they barely connect. Between Emily's job in retail, which is overwhelming during the holidays, and her hubby, endless task in the finance business and organizing family visits, gifts, and so much more, their emotional reserves were dried up. By the time they hit Christmas Eve, they were both frustrated and disconnected, despite loving each other deeply. Sound familiar? The pressure to create the perfect holiday can leave you feeling drained, resentful, and impatient, which, as you know by now, are intimacy's worst enemies. But here's the thing. It's not just external factors, that pull you away from intimacy. There's also an internal battle going on. Maybe some of you wrestle with feelings of unworthiness this time of year. Maybe you're thinking, am I doing enough? Am I living up to expectations set by others and expectations set by myself? Sister friend, those feelings can make it harder to be vulnerable with your partner or even open up to receiving love from them. You may find yourself snapping at your partner over small things like who forgot to buy gift wrap or who left the cupboard in the kitchen open, feeling resentful that you're shouldering more of the holiday chores than your partner. Mark from Toronto, thanks for listening, Mark, shared with me how he felt neglected when his partner, Julia, was constantly busy baking for holiday sales, leaving them with no quality time. This tension can lead to a disconnect where instead of feeling supported, you feel alone during what's supposed to be the most wonderful time of the year. The bottom line is this. If you're feeling overwhelmed, stressed, or emotionally drained, you're not alone. Here's the good news. There are ways to make changes that can help bring intimacy back into your holiday experience. All right, sister friends, let's get to the good stuff. How can you move through the stress and prioritize intimacy both as a couple and as individuals? Let's break it down into 5 actionable steps you can take this holiday season starting today. You have to create micro moments of connection. You don't need hours and hours to restore intimacy, A 3-minute hug in the kitchen, whispering a genuine compliment in your partner's ear, holding hands while waiting in line for hot cocoa or coffee. These micro moments can go a long way. Let's take Emily and her hubby again. One thing that started to help them was implementing a 10-second rule. Every time they crossed paths during their busy schedule, they would stop and kiss for 10 seconds. I was like, really? 10 seconds? Hold up. 1, 2, 3. 10 seconds is kind of long. But you do what you do. If it's even a peck, 3 seconds, that will work too. It wasn't a long conversation or a grand romantic gesture, right? Just a small, deliberate moment to reconnect, and you can do that too. Prioritize quality time together. It could be as simple as fixing breakfast together, doing something away from the hustle and bustle, or walking through your neighborhood to admire the holiday lights. They're going to have some crazy electric bill come January, right? But the key here is intentionality. It's not about the quantity of time, but the quality. Also, be mindful of each other's needs. Acknowledge that the holiday season can be downright stressful for both of you in different ways. Be patient and give each other space, when needed, but also be there to offer support and understanding to each other. Don't underestimate the power of these quick bursts of connection. A hug here, a tap on the butt there, a peck there. Even if everything else feels overwhelming, these little pockets of love can remind you both that you're in this together. Another thing you have to do is learn how to say no to protect your yeses. Now, let's talk boundaries, right? Because maintaining intimacy during the holiday isn't just about saying yes to connection. It's also about saying no to obligations that drain you. For crying out loud, don't let anybody just walk up to you and try to add you to do this, to decorate this place when it wasn't on your list. Saying no is a holy thing, sister friend. I discovered that, and I've let people around me know that saying no is as holy as it can get sometimes. How often have you found yourself at a party or event that you really didn't want to attend and then came home exhausted and cranky? Listen, it's okay to decline some invitations or delegate tasks to others. When you protect your time and energy, you're creating this space for meaningful connection. And in setting boundaries, you may open up more time for communication too. Yes. Talk about your feelings, expectations, and stresses of the season with your hubby. Look, sister friend, sometimes you need to take the whoosha moment and just do some deep breathing. Holding everything in doesn't do either of you any favors. Open communication can help mitigate misunderstandings, and sharing the stress can also bring you closer together. Talk about who you can both say no to as a couple. It's cheeky, but fun. All right. So tip number 3 is that you have to make intimacy an item on your holiday checklist also. If you're someone who loves lists and schedule, this one's for you. Add intimacy to your to-do list. I know it may sound unromantic to schedule time for connection, but during the craziness of the holidays, making it intentional can be a game changer. Maybe that means setting aside 30 minutes before bed to talk, cuddle, or have a no phones moment together. Or maybe once a week, you plan an at-home date night where you light some candles, make hot chocolate, and just be together. For us, we like to do the sauna. It was broken, now it's fixed. We're like, okay, we got to get back once a week. We just sit in the sauna 20 minutes or so and just talk. Trust me, intentionality is key when spontaneity feels hard to come by. Do you have an intimate tradition though? Embrace the holiday spirit by creating your own intimate tradition, sister friend. Whether it's baking a special dessert together or watching a holiday movie in bed, these small rituals can become something you both look forward to and cherish as the years goes by. And these years are going by like nobody's business. I'm thinking about gifting 6 cards or it's like a coupon to be used throughout the year. Maybe, a coupon for, sex when I don't feel like it. Taking the blame in a disagreement, even if I know I'm right. And a couple other such things, like a stack of coupon. The ideas are flowing in. See, I'm taking my own advice here too. And it's just, I just had that insight. See, you could do that too. So you can trade gifts of experience, instead of focusing on material gifts. Gift each other experiences. Plan a post-holiday getaway or a special date night for January. This gives you both something intimate and exciting to look forward to after the holiday rush has calmed down. Amidst all of that, you have to prioritize self-care, and you must know it's not selfish to do so. This tip is probably the hardest for some of you to put into practice. But sisters, listen, you can't pour from an empty cup. So nurturing your relationship starts with nurturing yourself. I always like to think of this like when you're on the airplane and they tell you if the oxygen mask fall down, to put it on yourself first before you do a small child or an elderly person. That's because if you trying to struggle to put the mask on somebody else and you don't have the mask on, you're going to pass out. And then you're no good to yourself or to the child or elderly person you are trying to help. So you have to put your oxygen mask on. Whether that's taking 15 minutes to meditate, go for a walk, or unwind with your favorite book, try to carve out personal time. I've recently taken up this adult coloring thing, and it's kind of fun actually, just to sit there and color and just be amazed by what you can create. Random. One listener told me she started her mornings during the holiday season with journaling. She'd write 3 things she was grateful for and 3 things she wanted from her partner that day. Then they'd talk about it over coffee in the morning. It became a moment they both look forward to. What is going to be your new thing in prioritizing yourself? So, you have to reflect and set intentions for the new year. You could do it for yourself, but you can also do it as a couple. What do you want to attain? The end of the year is a natural time to evaluate where you are in your relationship and where you want to go. Consider sitting down with your partner to reflect on the highs and lows of the past year and set 1 or 2 intimacy goals for the coming year too. For instance, one couple I know decided to make it a goal to have at least 1 tech-free weekend every month. This wasn't just about avoiding screens. It was about giving themselves the mental space to focus on each other. Those little goals can build momentum for bigger, long-term intimacy habits. These were just about 5 steps, but they have the potential to make a world of difference for you, my sister friends. Remember, the holidays are a season of love and joy, and intimacy doesn't have to mean huge romantic gestures or hours of times you don't feel like you have. It's the small, genuine acts of love and care that ground your connection, even amidst the holiday chaos. Don't let the stress overshadow the warmth and closeness you share with your partner. By being mindful and intentional, you can navigate this busy time without sidelining your intimate connection, and it can truly be the most wonderful time of the year. Until next time, I encourage you to reflect on these tips and think about how you can apply them to your relationship. Taking care of yourselves and each other. Keeping the spark alive might require a little effort, but the warmth it brings is worth every bit of it. Well, sister friend, I know you have choices, so I thank you for tuning into Intimacy After podcast. You may subscribe for bi-monthly alerts or stay in the know by visiting my website at queenquanta.com. That's Queen, QUANTA.com. Until next time, remember, a life without intimacy is like your favorite meal without salt. Ladies, let's spice it up. Life is beautiful and God is awesome. This is Queen. signing out.